I mean, we were just sitting back, chopping it up.
That's so funny you brought that up. Wall to the wall. Yo, man, back in the days, everybody had a name, man. I know. I picked the craziest name.
yeah. That and then a Wizzy D also, right?
Yeah, Wizzy D.
Wizzy D.
Yeah,
and that. Did you think you were going to be more of like a soul singer, or was it something?
No.
Was Walter the Water of Love? That feels very soulish, doesn't it?
Yo, my friends laugh at me to this day, man. I wrote it on my jacket. One of my close friends, he's from the group Outtakes. His name is Sun C, and we always talk about it because he grew up with me too. So we all grew up together, and I wrote it on my jacket because I didn't know, man. You had names like Run DMC, LL, and here I come as the Walter the Water of Love.
Hey everyone, welcome to Crash the Party. My name is Nate Game, and this is episode 2 of the Party Crashers series. I brought on a gentleman that you may know, especially if you're a fan in the rap hip-hop industry from the 90s. One of the original MCs that really made it happen, came from Brooklyn, Gates Avenue. Mr. Killah Priest, how are you today, sir?
Hey man, I'm good, man. I'm in a good mood. I'm just up, man, up and ready. You know.
Did you get to ride your bike today?
Nah, not today. Last night I did though. I did my night ride.
Excellent. I've seen that a couple times on Instagram. You've been in the industry for close to 30 years.
Wow, it's been that long?
Yeah, 30 years. I think you're like maybe a year and a half, 2 years out from your origins, back with a couple of other folks that I'm sure that most people know who they are as well. You've mentioned your mom is essentially a jewel piece when it comes to your life, and she's been a big inspiration for you. And so going back, she was a Barry White fan, from my understanding, and you took some inspiration there. Was there maybe a group or two that folks wouldn't expect from you that was inspirational, maybe even in a different genre?
Yeah, Bread. I like Bread. I like soft rock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like America, House with No Name, and those things. I don't know. Shit. It was like listening to those type of songs put me in the mood, you know? It's like A Horse with No Name, Ventura Highway, Where the People. I just like those songs.
How did you get in connection up front with RZA? Because he was one of the ones that introduced you into that group, correct?
Yeah. Well, we like family, man. We grew up together. Me and the Jizza. It was the Jizza, and it was both of them. You know, we like family, so we grew up together, and we just started working. Well, they started before me, and then I just watched. I learned and watched, and so when Jizza had his first deal with Cold Chillin', you know, I was just a support. I didn't know I wasn't a dancer for him, but I was just like roadie. You know what I mean? That's like
you didn't do any dancing?
Nah.
you weren't a big dancer?
I used to dance, huh?
You weren't one of the dance crew?
I wasn't one of his dancers, man. That would go to Dreddy Cougar. And you know, I was on the sideline all that time and just rolling with it. And then RZA got his deal, and that's how it came off. And then they both had bad deals with their record label, and then that sparked up to Wu-Tang Clan.
You actually thought you might start the industry in a different way from what I saw, with a stage name, Walter the Water of Love.
Hey.
Does that ring a bell?
Yo, that's so funny you brought that up, Walter the Water of Love. Yo, man. Back in the days, everybody had a name, man. I know. I picked the craziest name.
yeah. That and then a Wizzy D also, right?
Yeah, Wizzy D.
Wizzy D.
Yeah, that was my second.
Did you think you were going to be more of like a soul singer, or was it something?
No.
Was Walter the Water of Love? That feels very soulish, doesn't it?
Yo, my friends laugh at me to this day, man. I wrote it on my jacket. One of my close friends, he's from the group Outtakes. His name is Sun C, and we always talk about it because he grew up with me too. So we all grew up together, and I wrote it on my jacket because I didn't know, man, you had names like Run DMC, LL, and here I come as the Walter, the Water of Love. But it was so funny, man.
Well,
Yeah, it was crazy.
And water has been a tie to you. I've seen that you've talked about how important just that element is to you, that water. I've seen you talk a couple times about how that's important to you and the things that you do with intake as well. While listening to some of your music, preparing for this stuff that I hadn't heard yet, I tried to listen to things with some of those inspirations and things that I knew that you were into. Did the water, like starting at the beginning, even, I mean, Walter, the Water of Love, like even back then,
yes.
And you hear flow and all that kind of stuff. Did that stuff play into what you wanted to do with your lyrics?
Definitely. I wanted to be like a water, I think you call it waterologist or aqua. I want to be like a doctor of water. I always study water. I was always into water when I was little because my name was so similar. So that did something like to my psyche. And I always was attracted to water, whatever water was. And my nephew, his name started with an M, so I thought that was really on point because he was the milk and I was the water. So us together would be like, I'm water. I definitely thought I was water.
From my understanding, it was one of those things that you didn't know that you were going to get into the scene much bigger than you did. You were in the studio with RZA at what was called the Firehouse, right?
Yes.
Firehouse Studio. Yep. And it was one of those things, you were sitting there hoping at some point you might get a chance to do some stuff, and he looks over and says, "Hey, pop on this one with me." And you came on, and from my understanding, you took a little bit of a risk because you didn't have anything technically ready for the beat that they were playing. You just let it flow out. And again, that matches right alongside of the folks that I'm trying to come along with, crashing the party that way, putting that risk factor out there. How did that work? Like, did you just hear the beat and match the lyrics that you already had in your head with that, or?
Yeah. I was always known as like a freestyle. The style I was doing was called freestyle. It's still called freestyle today, but I was always rhyming without a beat. It's just on the block, on the street, battling people without beats, and so here it comes RZA with all these dope beats. I tried. Back in the days, a little bit different because I would press or record and do songs to other people beats while they rapping on it. Like, I just had to be heard. So I guess that developed strength in my voice and stuff like that because I was rhyming over everybody else rhyming on their beat. So it was a little challenge to me, and it was like, okay, now I'm gonna get on a track. RZA told me to get on the track. So I was just so hyped at the same time that I didn't even think of writing. I just came off the top something that I already had. And it was to a song that I was doing. And I was like, man, forget all that song. I'm just gonna throw it on there. And then that's how that happened.
Yeah. And I've actually heard a lot of the greats from that era, the 90s. Christopher Wallace, most know him as Notorious B.I.G, was the same on the street, would spit that stuff. And Puffy found him and brought him in and did something similar with getting him with some beats and matching him up. And so did you grow up with him as well? Did you know him?
Yeah, he was a little bit younger than me. Yeah, I know Big. He used to be out there with his Carhartt jacket, selling drugs with his clique with Junior Mafia, and all of them was out there and they were, doing their hustle. And I would always see him, he had a bandana on and they would just always hustle right there on St. James. Yeah.
One of the things that really drew me into wanting to discuss things with you was there's a thread that goes throughout your career with perseverance. So there's been a lot of times that it looked like maybe this was it. Maybe that's the end of your run with this stuff, but you've proven yourself with that perseverance, that drive, that you always believe in yourself, even when other people might say, hey, this doesn't look like it's going to work out. And we'll get to it in a second, but the album that you just brought out is even more proof of that mindset with you. Is there something that you had inside that kept telling you, like, keep going with that stuff?
And I said a line that went, like you said, perseverance. I'm back more stronger than my first appearance. And that's what it was, it was just like, and that line meant so much to me because it's the love of the music, love of the culture. and I think that's what kept me going. And it was a lot of the fans. It has a lot to do with, you know, I have like a weird cult fan, and they like, Priest, don't stop. And you know, they would just tell me to keep going, but it was definitely just the love of it. And yeah, man, that's what definitely did it. And it was like, yo, you know, being on a major label at that time was like, yo, man, I'm not gonna let them, you know, dictate what I want to do or compromise my integrity, my style for what they wanted. You know, I this is how I came, and this is how I'm going to leave. This is how I'm going to stay, rather.
Yeah, being true to yourself, and I think that's important, really, with anything that you do. So early 2000s, kind of in that same vein, you had hooked up with Raz Kaz and started the talks of what was back then the Four Horsemen. I think you guys dropped the four, made it the Horseman.
Yeah.
Since that point, you've even dropped vowels, and he made a rhyme about that. And this is the shit. I think it was right at the beginning. Right.
Yeah,
and he said, "No more vows. I don't give a shit. No vows. Like it's just us, four horses, four dudes. We know the game. We're coming at you.
Yeah,
you didn't think it was going to happen. It took 20 years. And tell me a little bit about the perseverance side with that stuff, because there was a lot that happened over that 20-year period. It's not just like, hey, this was an idea, and then that idea kind of went off to the wayside, and then you guys brought it back. There was multiple times that you guys tried to work certain things out.
Yeah, exactly. We you know, me being part of the Wu, and Corrupt being part of the Dog Pound with Snoop, and then Raz Kaz also sharing the Dr. Dre with Exhibit. Cannabis was with the Fugees and Wyclef. And you know, each of us, we like was the side guys, you know, that do all the battling, where all the MCing to come from. So, you know, like RZA will always tell me, yo, man, I want to hear something with just y'all, you know what I'm saying? And I guess Snoop said the same thing to Corrupt. So we just we put it together, and actually it was Cannabis who came up with the idea that first told me about it. And you know, me and Raz we just were more close because we was the only ones that were going out to clubs and hanging out. And so then I started knowing that, you know, Corrupt has more parties than everybody. And that's how we all hooked up, man. Yep. For real.
Is he who drew you out west?
Yeah. What drew me out west was just the sunshine, you know what I mean? Coming out here, it's hard to leave, you know. I made a mistake and went to San Diego and saw the waves. Then I came out LA. Every time we come out to perform, I don't never want to leave. And one day I just stayed.
Yep. That's another biggie line, right? California.
Yeah, women, weed, and it said strictly for the women, weather and the weed.
Yep.
But I say he should have bought one more W is the waves.
Yeah, I mean, you got them in the backdrop right now for you. So, but yeah.
Hey, Dizzle. Shout out to AD.
Yep, AD set you up for that one.
Yeah.
Back to that water again, too. You guys come out with the album. What was it, on the 19th, I think? 18th, 19th this month? And
18th,
you actually had a huge get-together this past weekend and drew a couple things together. You guys also have a beer that you had brewed for you, a pale ale, HRS Power.
Yes, HRSMN Power, Horseman. We just took out all the vowels, so you look at it like the Roman. We did it like the Roman letters. I say, yeah, man. And then the company just jumped on us, and it was like it gave us a beer deal, man, and everything. I never knew all of this stuff was going to happen just like that, and it was just like the Horseman. Everybody started calling it a classic. It's the worst classic star. And this is 20 years ago, bro. We just put all this stuff together, and it was Raz Kaz who kind of like wouldn't let the ship go sink, or it wasn't sinking, it was just stuck in the water again, and then we got this beer, and you know the beer is pretty good. You know, I haven't tasted myself, but everybody else, Corrupt told me it was good. Oh, you tasted? No doubt. My man McKemperer tasted. Yeah. My man McKemperer, he tasted. He said it was crazy. He's right here, right now. Yeah.
Also heard that, especially with the pandemic, you you guys did a stage performance, and that was the first time you'd been on stage for a little bit, and you had to get your sea legs back, right?
Yeah, yo, that's the first time touching the mic, having that energy in a crowd, and so it was all new, man. It was so funny and awkward at the same time. It was professional, awkward, weird. It was a whole bunch of stuff that was happening. And we was up there, man, and as soon as Corrupt does Ain't No Fun, yeah, and everything we just had fun after that,
Yeah, you guys are touring soon, right?
Yeah, yep. We get to perform some of the Horseman songs, as well as our classics, and I want to perform some new joints. Yeah.
I've since it came out, I've had times where I listened to bits of it, and then I've had times where I've listened to the entire album through probably 4, 5, 6 times.
Yeah.
I mean, Centaur is one of my joints, along with Impossible. But
man,
but there is a sneaky line, and I heard you talk about it, and you lit up over this line from "This Is the Shit," where you brought up somebody that nobody probably thought you would bring up. This is you crashing a party again, bringing up Billy Shakespeare, that you're pulling him out of the grave. Was there something that inspired you thinking about doing that? And get that guy back out of the grave and show him what's up.
Yeah, exactly. Without all the little secret, you know what I mean? Yeah, I just wanted to do something and shake it up, man. I always wanted to get that part. Yeah.
Well, you said you were going to melt his bones, so
yeah.
and I feel like you did that. I feel like you did that.
Yeah.
And so definitely some classic lines. And I'll have all the links in the description for everyone that's watching. If you haven't heard it, you need to go listen to this joint right here. This thing is popping. You get 4 guys that are originals from the game all coming together. And I mean, and some of them you might not recognize until you do a little bit of looking into, like you said, the Dog Pound and Wu-Tang and all that kind of stuff. But once you hear it, you know who you heard these guys before. And there's no doubt about it. And I would say, as an all-around album, there's so much diversity with it too. Sounds like you've got so many different styles of tracks with that album. But
this one song we got, Me and Razcast, is kind of heavy. That's going to be the next single. It's like about the girl. Yeah.
And there's even a track about Burger King in there.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. My bad.
Yeah.
I don't know the names.
Actually, the other line I was laughing about today actually was where you had the line talking about being up until 10 o'clock. She's on her phone until 10 o'clock going, blah, 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 blah. Sound like a duck.
Yeah, he sound like a duck.
That one had me cracking up in my car again today.
True story. How many of us don't experience that, man? I just wanted to put some of our experiences through lifetime.
Yeah. Well, the truth obviously has more impact and relates through that music and through any art form, really. If you're truthful with what you're spitting out the way that you do, it's hard to not relate to a lot of that stuff, because that made even someone like me, I was cracking up.
And I'm glad you found it funny, man.
Yeah, but definitely check that album out, Last Ride, The Horseman.
Out now.
Like he said, they're going to be doing some touring. Obviously, a lot of promotion behind that, because that thing is legit. One other thing that you've got going on that a lot of people probably don't know about unless they follow you on like Instagram or they're one of those cult fans that you've got is you are in the industry with a strain of it's called the company's Cherry Kola, and it's the Killah Priest OG strain. So if you're into that stuff, you got to check that out too. If you like to feel good about that, then check that out too. But that's a different party that you probably didn't think you'd be crashing 20 years ago.
Yeah, I definitely did. I mean, definitely didn't. Yeah, that was something that started with remember Corrupt Moon Rocks? That was out a little while. Yeah, it started with that, man. So we did Corrupt Moon Rocks, and I was behind the scene on that. And then I just said Woo-Goo. So we transferred over to Woo-Goo, and now I just said, man, I'll just do my own line. And Killah Priest OG, I hooked up with the guys out in Sonoma, and we just put it together.
Yep. And
not Sonoma, my bad. Up north, North Cal. Sonoma. I'm thinking about going there. My bad.
as if you didn't have enough going on, you have a podcast that you do every Monday and Wednesday.
Yes.
Right around 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit with your mission with doing that podcast.
Man, the podcast is just to speak your truth. You know what I mean? Just speak your truth, whether it's, spirituality, relationships. We deal with anything and everything. Conspiracies. We take all of that, man. We talk about weed, health, foods. It's been fun, man. We got different characters on there, man. We have shout out to Can You Dig It? He comes through sometime. We have Tahuti that comes through, my man Makepara, and Rasul Allah from Lost Children of Babylon. They come on, long as we're AD, and everybody's starting to tune in, man. It's starting to get some good legs under it.
Yeah, you had one last week that the guy got kind of fired up about the vaccine.
That was a good one.
Had your boys there getting a little fired up. Yes. And he was pushing to that agenda a little bit.
Yeah, I love
it. He had me cracking up, going back and forth with you guys on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely check that out as well. I'll add that in the description, so it's real easy to link up, subscribe to his channel, find him on Instagram, follow him there. He's got a Twitter. Really, anywhere you want to find him, go find him and make sure you're following, subscribing, all that kind of stuff.
We had, I wanted to say too, we had Josh on, Josh Bowen, man, and that was a good episode too. We talked about the Sumerian epics of Gilgamesh, and that was just totally different. No one called. It was controversy and great at the same time.
Yeah, that's definitely another side of you that I really respect. You, there's no prejudice for anyone's belief or the way that they are. You accept everybody in. I think that's a huge thing. If more people were able to do that, I think that our country and the world as a whole would be so much better if we could just accept people for people and understand that we're gonna have some differences, but that doesn't mean we have to treat them different because there's differences.
That's right. So, it's about humanity at the end of the day, and get this thing right, or we're gonna have to repeat it over and over until we get it right. Yeah.
So I always work to end these with one question. And with someone that's persevered as you have throughout the industry, you've quote unquote crashed the party in different ways. You've been successful the entire time. If there's somebody out there that feels like they should be doing more, but maybe they just haven't pulled the trigger on that risk. Maybe they have people telling them that they're not going to make it. Whatever that case is, how would you? Like, what advice would you give them to help them, quote unquote, crash the party and break through on some stuff that they think they should be doing?
Use their words for stepping stone. You know what I mean? Use that word. Don't take it personal. Just take it as motivation, because at the end of the day, all you have is you. If you stick to purpose is everything. Just stick to your purpose. And once you submit to your purpose, stay on top of it. Every day is not good. But as long as you're on a journey to your purpose, you'll get there. You'll see results.
That's fantastic advice, man.
Thank you.
To say I appreciate you coming on would be an understatement, man. I definitely appreciate you being here with me today. Just because some of us get long in the tooth doesn't mean we don't have it anymore. Yeah. So, and that album, Horseman Last Ride, it's one that goes on repeat right now. My son's 16 and he's digging it. And,
that's a good.
He goes by Twiggy, so
what up, Twiggy?
We joke around, but he thinks he's more muscular than he is, and we call him Twiggy Ramirez, and so
Twiggy Ramirez. Yeah, his Wu-Tang name would be Twizzer.
yeah. I have to start calling him that instead, man.
Twizzer.
Yep. Much appreciated. Thanks to everyone that watched today, and much love, Killah Priest. Man, you're the man.
Peace to you, Nate, and to your whole platform, man. Everything, man, is great.
Thank you so much. Yo. This has been Crash the Party, and we will see you next time.
Calm down before you stress up the groove. The energy a little different when the blessings accrue. Hey, who you talking to? Just know I ain't no regular fool. Could be anything in the world, but I can never be you because I
Crash the Party. Shout out to Big Pasta.
Small, I got big goals, baby. Ain't where the money at. Look, I just need the info. Pronto, I go and get it and split it with my kinfolk daily.
Man, big shout going out to Twiggy Ramirez.
Twiggy Ramirez.
Yeah, I can see the summer on you. You see all the bread, and I know it make you wonder, don't you? Ooh.
Twiggy Ramirez loves that Wu-Tang, man. He said Wu-Tang ain't nothing to fuck with, is what he said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Y'all rock that. So let me hit that stop right here. Y'all hit that shit out the park. Boom. All right. And I think I just, do I stop?
Stop or leave your AD. How do we get out of it? Stop or leave.
Oh no, I think I got it right here.
Oh, you got it.
The kitchen, yeah, I could make a hit on whatever you pitching. Baby, let me fill up whatever you missing, or you like it up at the top. It's a better view.